Hey, Tim, thanks so much for stopping by today to catch up. We've been an investor with you now for 10 years.
Long time, and thank you.
A lot of people don't even know what KCADC does. Would you kind of fill them in from your perspective, the importance of your organization?
Well, thank you both for having me here, and I appreciate, on behalf of everybody at KCADC, you know the team very well, they adore you. You have been with KCADC a long time, and I'm proud of the fact that most of our funding comes from the private sector. We're very entrepreneurial, you're an entrepreneur, and I want to reflect those values in what we do. So KCADC has been around for about 50 years, and in effect, what we are is the sales and marketing team for the Kansas City region. And we define the region as both Kansas and Missouri, 18 counties, and about 50 plus communities across this wide expanse of geography. And our job is to take all the lines that some would say divide communities. We believe that it brings it all together. This region brings everyone together, and we make the lines disappear because our customers don't know where the lines are. They frankly don't care when they come in. I'm sure you deal with the same thing when you have an executive that's coming into Kansas City, relocating here, and they ask you, are we in Missouri, are we in Kansas, and how does all this work, and how many Kansas cities are there? Like you, our job is to make those lines go away and make it as simple as possible for our customers to evaluate and then ultimately select Kansas City.
You know, one of the reasons why I wanted to be involved with your organization is the fact that you guys, first off, your entire group, everyone that works at the KCADC is like incredible.
We've got a deep bench. Thank you for saying that. They're tremendous. They really are.
And as an investor, having access to a group of people that are willing to help when I have out-of-towners that I'm trying to help with relocation, or even needing stats on different, everything from like cost of living compared to somewhere else, if I'm trying to convince somebody to move here instead of, say, Nashville. What do you think is the biggest benefit to an investor for being a part of your organization?
Well, I think that first and foremost, every one of our investors, and we've got about 300, they want to be a part of something that's bigger than themselves. One of the great things that we have in Kansas City is everyone loves Kansas City. There's a tremendous amount of pride, and to be able to leverage that pride and elevate their own brand, their individual brand, their company's brand like you have, with Kansas City's brand, I mean, that is a tremendous combination. So that's what we do. We have a big tent. We welcome everyone. We have all types of companies, smaller companies like yours, but with certainly a big national and international hookup like you have with Sotheby's, to all the way to the largest companies in Kansas City. They're all part of KCADC. I call it a loose coalition of the willing, where it brings the private sector and the public sector together. And you've been there many, many times at our quarterly meetings, our annual meetings. It's a big mashup. And I love the fact that we can be a rallying point, a place where people can convene from across the region, because this can be a very complex and nuanced product with multiple communities, counties, political subdivisions, 2 states. That's what we do.
You know, it's funny you say that, because for me, that was another thing that I find so fascinating about all the investors is they're vested in something bigger than themselves. Right. It's not necessarily like a networking group as much as it is a group coming together. You know, you have multiple realtors, you have multiple engineering firms, you have multiple insurance companies and banks, and it's a place where when everybody gathers, their focus is how do we bring more business and people to the region, and I love that about the organization.
It's very well said. For example, the real estate firms, the residential real estate firms, everybody puts that competitive element off to the side because we're all selling the same thing, and that's Kansas City. Kansas City is that one thread that ties this entire tapestry of KCADC investors together. We're all big believers in Kansas City. So we convene, we work together. How can we elevate this brand through the work of our own companies, but also through the work of KCADC and all these community partners? I mean, again, KCADC is only as good as the last interaction that we have with you as our investor, our community partners, what have you. So I look at that and I take it very, very seriously, speaking on behalf of everyone on the team at KCADC, is that we have a great product, but that product just isn't going to sell itself. Right. We've got to go out, and you all are on the front line of selling Kansas City. You will hear about opportunities well before sometimes even KCADC or our community partners or the states, because you're talking to these executives that are evaluating Kansas City, and you have a great deal of trust, I know, that you have to place in us if you bring us in, because all we want to do is make you better. You're the experts in what you do. We're experts in Kansas City, and that's really, I think, the true value and the real strength of this collective called KCADC, is bringing everyone.
Tim, you recruited 18 companies to Kansas City this year. What, in your mind, are some of your highlights for 2024?
Well, when you say you, I want to say on behalf of the entire region, because it's just not obviously KCADC. It's everyone working together to go out and bring these new companies and this new talent here. I'm very excited about the brands that are now in Kansas City that maybe weren't necessarily here before. So you think about Google. I mean, Google is going to invest $1 billion with a B in a data center in Kansas City. Now, some would say, okay, it's a data center, they're not going to employ that many people. That's true. And that's not a bad thing, too, because we have a pretty tight workforce here. And the individuals or the folks that they will employ are going to be highly compensated relative to the technology jobs that they have, which is great. But the senior executive who was here for our annual meeting a couple of months ago said this in front of 2,000 people, that she now understands the power and the impact that Kansas City can have for Google, and she will take that message back, and she'll be returning to Kansas City, I know, with other opportunities in her hip pocket that we can compete for. So I'm excited about that. I'm really excited about how Kansas City's regional brand is being raised globally. A lot of discussion about World Cup, and all that's fantastic. A lot of talk around the Chiefs and our sports teams, the Current, Sporting, the Royals. I mean, there's just a lot of real positive momentum there. But as we raise our brand, that's so beneficial to all of us, because someone who might be living on the East or the West Coast or down in Texas or Chicago say, you know, what's happening in Kansas City? There's a lot of cool things happening on the maybe on the pop culture side, but then they hear about Panasonic bringing a $4 billion facility here, or Google, or Meta, Garmin's growing, all these great things that are happening. They go, you know what? I want to move there and start my life or restart my life in my career in a place that has so much going on. A lot of discussion, and I love what I'm hearing even internationally, is that Kansas City is that next it market. Not unlike what Nashville has gone through, or Charlotte, or Salt Lake, or Austin. Now, I don't want all the negatives that come with some of that too. If you've been to Austin recently, it's hard to get around, this, that, and the other. But Kansas City is finding its spot on the global stage. And for years and years, we tried to be bashful, we're Midwest, humble. And that's a good trait to be. Humility is a great trait. But we're doing a much better job of telling the world that, hey, you need to be here. We've got swag, and come on and join us.
You're fascinating to listen to. I could just sit here for hours. Tim's like, don't hold me here for hours.
I could keep them under an hour. It'd be like 2 minutes.
That's very nice of you to say. I need
Oh,
that.
well, I'm being genuine when I say
I know
that.
you are. I know you're not shining me on, and I appreciate that. I speak on behalf of 25 highly committed professionals at KCADC. Andy knows them all, and they do adore you. They do.
Thank you.
They do, and they're all committed to Kansas City. They could walk across the street. They could go make more money. They could do something else. But I'm very proud of the fact that we've kept this core group of individuals together for a long time. They care. They care about the place that they live. They want to make Kansas City the best place it can be. Mm-hmm. And let's think about it. There are a lot of great places to live in this country. I mean, we all travel, we go to different places and go, oh, wow, this is cool. I can imagine this would be a neat place to be, blah, blah, blah. Everybody plays that game. Kansas City now takes a back seat to no market. This is, I mean, think about it. I've said this often, and others have said it. I've heard it said that in Kansas City, we're really the only place where people walk around dressed like tourists, and they live here. I mean, think about all the people you see just walking around, not with Chiefs or Sporting or Current or Royal, whatever it is. They're wearing just KC swag that just has those initials. And there's a tremendous amount of pride that comes with that. Some of that is that we've got a chip on our shoulder. And we feel like we've got to say it louder and be maybe a little bit more boisterous because we're in the middle of the United States and people fly over us all the time. And they haven't really thought much about the Midwest. It's not just Kansas City, but the Midwest is on the rise. And we're a big, big part of that.
What is your, if you were sitting down with a company getting ready to decide where to move, what are the 3 top things that you would tell them that Kansas City has that nobody else can do like we do?
Well, first off, I think depending upon who that individual or that company is, that answer might be different.
Right.
But maybe some of the things that bind all of it together is that we have a tremendous talent pool here. I mean, there are great, very well-educated individuals who are committed to being in Kansas City and, again, pursuing their career and building their life here. So you've got to have that workforce. You have to have the talent base. And there's all sorts of pathways that are being created through educational avenues and institutions to help create that workforce for the future. And we can get into all of those sectors, but not here. First is workforce. Number 2, you have to have a place that just feels right. And have you ever had this happen where you bring somebody to Kansas City? I mean, this is your world, and they hadn't been here before, or maybe it's been a long time since they've been to Kansas City, and they get here and they go, oh my God, I had no idea. Jessica Palm on our team coined this phrase a while back, and I love it. It's called the epiphany of the visit. Because let's think about it. Kansas City gets mixed in with a lot of places across, and they're all great, but you got to get people here. Kansas City does not show as well on a spreadsheet, okay? There are other places that are growing faster, this, that, and the other, although we're really growing fast, and they've got some stats on that. But you got to get people here. And once you do, they go, oh my God, this is an amazing place. Really sophisticated. What's happening down on the plaza right now, the new ownership, and you know what a jewel that is. You sell it all the time. We need every asset, every aspect of Kansas City to be hitting on all cylinders in advance of the World Cup that's coming, because the world will be here. And then maybe 3, the cost and accessibility. I mean, I don't ever want this to be, quote, the cheapest place to live, all right? I want this to be the place that has the greatest value. So someone who's just out of college, like my youngest son, if he wants to build his life and career here, he can. He doesn't have to go somewhere else to do that. It has to be affordable, but you have to have a great deal of value that is generated in that equation.
Love it. So workforce, the epiphany of the, what was it? The
The epiphany of the visit, but it's about place.
Yeah,
You
place.
have to have the talent pool. You have to have a place where the talent wants to be. So quality of life, I just call it quality of place. And then you have to have all the education that supports all of that. And then ultimately, you have to have opportunity. You have to have a place where someone can pursue opportunity. Maybe that's with a company. Maybe it's because it's a place just where they want to be. And there's all sorts of, quote, being that all of us can pursue. This is a really open place for newcomers. We're very welcoming. I love that about Kansas City.
So two more questions, because I know you've got other things to do today. The first one is, same question quickly in a short, if you were talking to one of our relocation clients getting ready to move here, tell them why they need to come to Kansas City.
First, you can pursue whatever it is that you want to pursue with career, with your life, off of the work environment or off the work hours. Opportunity. Number two, this is a quality place to pursue that opportunity. And number three, you can afford it.
All right, last question for you today. It's your birthday. Happy birthday.
It is. Thank you.
So
You're not going to ask me how old I am.
I won't ask you how old you are.
That's all right. I don't care. I'm
But
61.
I know that you're a guy that is constantly trying to improve upon how your organization operates each year. And I know that because you see it. Like you never, your group, your people, and the way that you bring Kansas Cityans together with a common goal of making it a more attractive place and bringing more businesses and people here it's unlike anything I've ever seen. However, now, your year in review for you. What's the biggest takeaway that you have for this year for you personally and professionally? What'd you learn?
Well, wow, that's a great question. I'd say that professionally, I've learned a lot from the leaders that I am around, those leaders that I work with every day on the KCADC team. We have some really, really talented people. And when you bring a real talented group together, you've got to allow them to do their thing, okay? So that's number one. Part of that is the leadership that I'm around, that's the volunteer leadership. That's one of the best things about my job is I get to deal with so many different people, and I learn a lot. So I can apply little things that I learned from our co-chairs or from our executive committee or whoever it is. I feel great about that. Personally, I'm really excited that we've got all 4 of our kids now out of college. 2 K-State grads, a Mizzou grad, and a KU grad. So you can imagine the discussions around our table about sports and what have you. And I'm just proud of the people, the humans that they are becoming. And I'm proud of my wife for what she's been able to establish for our kids and the fact that she cares so much for them and their future.
I'm grateful for you. Thanks for spending an hour with me.
Heart.